This is something I wanted to say about reviews for a long time now, but never got to it. Thanks to a certain review about Black Myth Wukong, I've decided to share my thoughts about reviews and reviewers, you judgmental bastards. Here is how I look at reviews and scores, and what I'm trying to accomplish with the reviews, and then we'll switch to websites and individual agenda-driven reviewers, and if those two are connected in a more diabolical way. What I try to do in the reviews is retain as much objectivity as possible in judging different aspects of the game and how it all works as a whole. Many have said in the comments of my reviews that I sound quite unbiased, which is exactly what I'm going for. I can't have both of you that are watching my reviews rely and have confidence in what I'm saying if I'm coming from a certain angle. If I am, then I disclose that there is something I don't prefer, and that it isn't gonna affect the review except for the final score, but only by a bit, because final score in every review is just a quality guideline. What I consider to be a great game by giving it a score of 8, it might be amazing for you, which is a 9 in my scorebook, or just good, which is a 7 in my scorebook. This is all fine, because the score needs to be in the realistic region, and to accomplish that I have to stay in the objective lane as much as possible. Benefits of staying realistic and objective is that even when scoring a game, which is always subjective, some objectivity and common sense is retained. Of course I'm biased, but I try to remove any bias when reviewing a game. If I give the game a score of 8, then someone in the comments gives it a 4, I know they don't understand how to judge the game realistically, but instead are judging mostly from their preference. That is fine, because it is not something up their alley and they don't have a platform to retain a reputation as a reviewer that can be trusted. But I can't do reviews like that, otherwise there would be no weight behind them, because I'm not aiming to satisfy anyone's personal preference, including mine. Even when reviewing something like Diablo 4, I disclosed that Diablo-esque RPGs are for me one of the worst genres in gaming in terms of quality, but I put that aside as much as possible and gave a fair review. I don't know how Diablo 4 is today, but when it was released it was anything but good. Then if a person that loves the genre sees my review, it can automatically increase the score for a few points because of the preferences. Preference means that you will be able to tolerate mediocre and bad things more than usual when compared to a genre that you don't like, because even good things won't impress you as much in a genre that you don't like. To retain as much objectivity as possible, I stay clear of trailers, gameplay showcases and other people's reviews if I can. My way of thinking is like this: if I don't watch trailers and don't have any interest in the game before it releases, I don't have any expectations. Why are expectations a problem when doing reviews and in life in general? If you expect something to be good, then even if it matches the expectation, it's not gonna be as satisfactory and impressive due to not enough credit given where credit is due. If you expect something to be bad and ends up being good, then the surprise factor is gonna create a far too positive impression that also isn't realistic. On a personal note, one of the things that changed my life for the better when I was on the edge is to remove any expectations from life and to stop attaching expectations from the past into the future. Now, even for 1 minute into the future, I have no expectations, be it small or big. Especially not expecting big things anymore. It made me far more stable than ever before and allowed me to be happy in the moment, not basing my happiness on the possibility of something happening in the future. But I digress. Thing I've learned over time managing to do more objective reviews is that fun, no fun, buy or don't buy are impossible to objectify. I can never tell you if the game is going to be fun or not for you, or if the full price is going to be too much or not. It depends too much on your preference, but I can tell you if systems in the game are working and to what degree. It's not hard to objectify that. Now we get to reviewers, and specifically people that can't put their agenda and bias aside, like the Screen Rant reviewer that used their own personal agenda as a negative in Black Myth Wukong review, and why that is wrong. On a private level, we all have our own preferences, thoughts, come from different places, think differently and have our own way of looking at the world. Imagine if every single reviewer started to inject their personal beliefs into game reviews. This game doesn't have Christians, Muslims, Buddhists, gays, trans, people from Africa, Asia, Europe or whatever. See the problem? Suddenly all of us have a thing to bitch about because something isn't there. You are playing a video game and injecting your personal beliefs into the review by saying something isn't there. As a reviewer, you are judging what is there, not what isn't. Especially not something that would coddle your personal beliefs and that relates only to you and like-minded individuals or a collective. No developer should ever have to do that because it isn't fair to put it on them. Developers are not creating games to coddle you and your beliefs, they are creating a work of art based on their vision. Their, not yours. Only stuff allowed to criticize in a video game that isn't there are small mechanics and features that will make a lot of sense to be there, not personal beliefs. For example, recently I've streamed Golel demo and developer joined the stream. We had a good chat about the game and I gave an idea to the developer that makes sense, works and makes the game better mechanically, and that is to introduce more quick bar shortcuts like shift plus number or control plus number, and developer agreed that it is a good idea. That is an example of a feature that helps the game primarily, and because it helps the game it also helps the player by making things more user friendly, unlike injecting political stuff into non-political game, which is plain wrong. It's what fascists and communists did. Do we really want to revisit those years? Some people ask what is wrong with inclusivity and diversity. There is everything wrong with it, because you are forcing an outcome. Who should be included? Why? What is the difference between included parties? As soon as you label something as included, that means there is something wrong or something very different or something much better about a group of people that you want to include, and that they should be treated differently. As soon as you start thinking that, you have actually become racist, sexist and phobic, which is what DEI groups are essentially, because they are segregating people through culture, religion and sex by adding values to entire groups of people. Do you see how wrong that is? Why should there be a female character in Wukong? What would that add to the game? Nothing if the writer's vision didn't have them in the first place. Some games allow both sexes, while others have main characters that are set in stone. Do you want to play male Croft in Tomb Raider, for example? Best characters are the ones that are organically there because writers had them in their mind in the first place and didn't include them into the game to just fill a quota. Value to the characters representing minorities is added through an original vision, because then there is more chance that the character is going to be far more likable, deep, complex and interesting. And by not labeling characters in games, we could enjoy them more. For example, I would completely remove sexual orientation from video games. Straight, gay, whatever, who cares? Just write a good character, that's it. No need for labeling. By labeling, you are automatically assigning arbitrary worth. No one is better or worse because they are part of any group. Only thing that matters is how you are as an individual, in a game and in real life. Here is a good example of a fantastic character that was trans but was never really defined as anything, as they even said, "Don't even get me started on what I am," something like that. It is Job character from Banshee. What an amazing character, probably my favorite one from that TV series. Do I care that they are whatever they are? No, because the character is doing its own thing and is really a well-written one. Writers didn't push the agenda by screaming in my face every episode that this character is trans. I don't care what they are. By being labeled as anything, you aren't gonna get pluses or minuses from me. It's all about how worthy you are as a person in real life or a character in an artistic piece. Segregating and judging people based on labels is wrong, and history has shown that many times. Bloody hell, how many lives need to be destroyed before people stop believing the same shit wrapped in a different paper? When it comes to these websites that have investors, another question is raised. Is the website pushing an agenda onto their writers, or are the writers doing it on their own and the website is allowing it? Or are the investors the ones to blame and the website doesn't have much power behind these hires? I don't know the answer to that question. However, there is something wrong as soon as reviewers are allowed to inject their personal beliefs that aren't related to games into their reviews. Games are games, politics is politics. Or they are simply fishing for views, throwing such an idiotic review out there to get you views through outrage. As someone in my Discord said, imagine the views that site is getting now. In the end, maybe it's all about the money. It usually is. Politics is just a cover for generating power and money anyway, and it has always been that. Sheep believe the nonsense, and the smart ones are controlling them for selfish purposes. It's our nature, I guess. What is sad is that people should have learned by now how it all works. In the meantime, Black Myth Wukong has been released, and on average it seems to be a good game. Nothing special, but good nonetheless. I haven't played it because they didn't give me the key and got no money to spend at the moment on games. It seems, as I said in previous ramblings of a Madman video, that Black Myth Wukong could become a game where gamers could unite to take a stand against politics in games. And judging by the record-breaking number of players playing the game, it seems that it has become just that. Black Myth Wukong is an instant success. I'm just glad that it isn't some kind of a mediocrity, because taking the stand with a mediocre or a bad game wouldn't send a good message for the future of gaming. Anyway, that's all. If you want to check out my Patreon and subscribe to our pages, links are in the description. See you.